Is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu trying to divide Syria? Following a ceasefire deal, Syrian forces have reportedly completely withdrawn from the Druze-dominated city of Sweida. My colleague Diksha Bisla gets you more on this story. Over to you, Diksha.
Thanks, Haim. Now, let's take a look at what's happening. Questions are now swirling around Israel's motives and the leadership of Syria's President Ahmad Al-Sharaa. Well, Syria remains a fractured country. Well, at the start of this year, this is what the map of Syria looked like, and a lot has changed since then. Though a lot remains the same, the Kurdish-controlled regions as well as the Turkish-backed groups in the north have operated autonomously for years. Pockets of ISIS still hold territory, and now Israeli air raids across southern Syria, particularly in Sweida, have left more than 500 people dead. This is according to the war monitors. Now, Netanyahu's emphasis on protecting the Druze is a powerful narrative, but it stands in stark contrast to the broader scope of Israeli military actions, which includes strikes on the Syrian Defense Ministry in Damascus. Now, there's evidence to suggest that Israel's long-term strategy going back to 2011 is to keep Syria divided. There has been consistent Israeli emphasis on weakening the Syrian state, dismantling its military, exploiting internal instability, and establishing zones of influence points to a deliberate strategy to prevent the consolidation of a strong, unified Syrian government. While the concept of the pull of partition and the concrete discussions of a potential territorial corridor indicate that while Israel may not formally declare a goal of partition, its policies are designed to create conditions that lead to a de facto fragmentation or a perpetually weak, internally divided Syria. Well, Syria's complex demographic tapestry has been a central factor in its prolonged conflict. Take a look at some of the ethnic groups in Syria. Well, the largest are the Sunni Muslims spread throughout the country, making up 74% of the population. Sunni Muslims form the majority in most provinces. Then comes the Alawites, who form 12% of the population. They live mostly in the coastal mountainous region in Latakia and Tartus. Then the Kurds, they make up 10% of the population. They live in Syrian Kurdistan and in Aleppo and Damascus cities. Then you have the Druze, just about 3% of the population. They live mostly in Sweida province and the suburbs of Damascus. Now, Christians form just about 2% of the population. They live mostly in the urban centers in Damascus, Aleppo, Homs, Hama, Latakia and Hasaka province. And then there are a host of others: Ismailis, Yazidis, Armenians, Jews, Bedouin tribes and others. Now, let's take a look at the stance put forward by the various parties to the present conflict. Well, Netanyahu has clearly outlined Israel's policy in Syria as having two main rules: demilitarization of the region to south of Damascus from the Golan Heights and to the Druze mountain area, and protecting the brothers of our brothers, the Druze. Now, this is essentially the Israeli red line. President Donald Trump has said that he supports the country's path to stability and peace. He has signed an executive order terminating the Syria sanctions program. And third, Syrian President Ahmad Al-Sharaa has always publicly expressed a willingness to engage with Israel, citing common enemies and the necessity to reduce regional tensions. Well, his government is walking a tightrope, balancing traditional alliances with Iran with an imperative to avoid broader Israeli strikes. He has hit out at Israel for attempting to create divisions. And so, as Syria's map slowly reshapes through war and diplomacy, the question remains: is Netanyahu redrawing the borders of a broken country, or will Al-Sharaa somehow manage to reunite a divided Syria? Over to you, Him.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.